What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Fadeaway Hokage. Subscribers and members of the village call me Jokage. So if you haven't already subscribed, man, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead, subscribe, hit that bell button. First things first, first video of the year, what I want to give you guys is 3 technologies to watch out for in 2023. Alright man, stay tuned.
Shout out to Lil Bro for this one.
So there's 2 forms of AI generated media that I want to talk about. The first being AI generated art. Now before I dive into these, I actually kind of want to give just a basic definition. Artificial intelligence is just a machine that's simulated to behave like a human. So this can be done in a couple of different ways. It can be pre-programmed. The pre-program can be a set amount of decisions that the machine will take when it encounters certain things. You see this kind of sort of sometimes in video games, right? Depending on what the user does or how the user acts, there'll be a set amount of options for the AI or the artificial intelligence, usually the enemy in that game, to react. Or other times you see this a lot in machine learning. Machine learning is when you actually will feed a computer, you know, a bunch of data sets. Sometimes it'll be something like pictures, until the machine actually learns what it is that you wanted to accomplish. Alright, for example, I knew a guy from New York. He actually created a piece of software that could recognize fruit, right? So he fed a bunch of different images off Google, you know, some apples, some bananas, and by the time he was done, if you gave it a picture of a fruit, the computer would tell you what type of fruit that was. AI generated art is very similar in this fashion, as it takes a bunch of pictures and you feed it to a machine, and the machine will eventually be able to not recognize per se that art, but actually recreate it in a sense. It's like you teach the machine how to draw a particular picture by showing it a bunch of pictures that have already been drawn, right? Now this is, again, machine learning is technically not something that has been just developed in 2023, right? And even this AI generated art is not something that's really just now coming to light. It is, however, just now gaining popularity recently, probably about the end of 2022, I'd say. Now, while the app itself isn't a new app, this new feature that they have that allows you to create an AI generated image is something that they've recently developed. By develop, I mean create this and put a whole new spin on it and brought a lot more traction to it. Lensa is an app that was kind of streaming through Facebook and maybe Instagram, I think, a couple of different social media platforms. After it launched a new feature called Stable Diffusion. Now this is, I like to call it, not super advanced, but it's pretty advanced in a sense, because you feed this software, I think it's like 7 different images, and it's able to create like, I think like 50 different images from those 7. So why do we need to keep an eye out for this technology in 2023? Well, for one, some people may think that this new AI art can bring another NFT surge. With this app, you can possibly generate a bunch of different photos, and those photos can be set and sold as a collection of NFTs. However, not everybody is happy with the AI generated art. One of the main big arguments about artificial intelligence is that it will replace and almost disenfranchise, if you will, some of the workers in our workforce. We've seen a little bit of this in some of the Walmart shops or other grocery stores where you have tons of automated self-checkouts and there's no need for the cashiers anymore. In a similar fashion, there are artists who believe that not only could this damage the industry when it comes to creating art and possibly lead some artists to being disenfranchised, but it can actually influence straight up stealing. Hey, don't take my word for it. Famous artists Carla Ortiz and Greg Rutkowski both had some words to say about AI generated art. A lot of it being that they found some of their peers and even their own artwork in a lot of these AI generated images. And as you can imagine, they weren't exactly reached out to see if their art could be used. Ken Clark, a lawyer from Toronto, had this to say about AI art. Now you have to ask yourself, who's doing the creating? Is it the person who was smart enough to create the computer software to go and analyze things? Or is it the artist who you're taking these ideas from, right? In such a way that you substantially reproduce their work. Speaking as from my own experience as someone who does draw, there is a such thing as, seeing an artist's work and kind of wanting to almost mimic that style, right? You see something, maybe you draw it, or you get certain inspiration from something and you draw something based off of that. But can you actually copyright a style per se? Is it considered a style if you're taking all of these different images and uploading them into just a machine? What's the difference if I take the drawings and put them on my computer and draw them myself, as opposed to taking the drawings, putting them in a machine, and having a machine draw it? You can't really copyright a style of work, only the piece of work itself. So if something else comes out of that, albeit I guess physically possibly independent from what the other art source is, then what do you do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the AI generated art. Now, the second form of AI generated media are deepfakes. Now, I'm going to give a bit of a disclaimer here. When it comes to deepfakes, I don't really have a lot of positive things to say about them. For those of you who don't know what deepfakes are videos that uses an individual's voice, individual's looks, and of individual's characteristics create a synthetic video. Well, what do you mean by synthetic, Joseph? Well, what I mean by synthetic is you can put somebody's face and voice, such as on my video right now, and I will look like someone totally different, sound like somebody totally different, and it will be all put together in a way that you would think that it was somebody different. Take a look at these examples. I'll post a couple of links below to the videos where I got these thumbnails from, and even if you want to go watch some of the deepfakes yourself, I highly encourage it. There are a couple of different deepfake tools out there that I'm not going to post a link to, of course, just because I almost want to discourage the use of creating deepfakes, if we're really being honest here. But they are, I believe, there are some free ones. If they're not free, they're not extremely cheap. And with it kind of being out there for anybody to access, anybody can do it with the right resources. Now, of course, there are some, I guess I would say, uses or intended consequences when it comes to deepfakes. Obviously, they can be used in the media industry. Say if an actor or somebody is not present for a shoot, if you want to make some sort of tribute to an actor who is no longer living. Even in the gaming industry as well too, when it comes to recording voice actors or recording scenes for cutscenes, things of that nature. However, there is a lot of danger that can come with deepfakes. In fact, we have already seen some unintended consequences when deepfakes have been used, or abused rather. The number one negative implication of deepfakes has to be, in my opinion, the ability to spread misinformation or false news. Now, I'll preface this by saying that some of Jordan Peele's works, his movies, even the show they did on Key and Peele, I thoroughly enjoy. I'm a big fan. Right? But Jordan Peele kind of showed us why these things should not be used. He was able to post a deepfake with, as him almost, I don't want to say necessarily impersonating, but it was a deepfake of Barack Obama with him speaking, but it still looked and sounded like Barack Obama. To the point where this video was circulating around social media, and some people actually questioned whether or not was it him. Now, I don't think I have to spell out exactly why that can be an issue, especially for political figures, right? If we get a message from some other political figure that's not really them, that can, maybe throw something into chaos, or if the government may want to use a deepfake of somebody else just to, as justification for going to war or something like that, right? And it doesn't necessarily stop at politicians also, right? Nobody's identity or authenticity or their bodily autonomy can be considered exactly safe. In fact, politicians, I don't even believe politicians are the number one victims of deepfakes. Celebrities and women in particular are also suffering from deepfakes as well too. There have been incidents, stories reported of revenge porn being sent out by upset, angry exes or just, a celebrity that everybody knows and wants to see in the news. With the technology getting increasingly better when it comes to deepfakes, it only can provide more and more issues, more misinformation being thrown out, mistrust in the media, and people suffering, having their identities or their autonomy being stripped from them in some way, shape, or form. And here is my biggest fear when it comes to deepfakes. My biggest fear is that we have unleashed something that we cannot take back. Deepfakes are only getting better and better. The more times you feed a machine an image, the more it's going to be able to recreate that image or recreate that sound, recreate that visual, and get better at it. In fact, some of the ways we try and detect deepfakes and get better at detecting them is feeding AI a video of deepfakes and an actual video that's not, and being able to pick apart piece by piece what exactly is real and what isn't. Think about that. We're using deepfakes to find deepfakes, but as we use deepfakes more, the technology for deepfakes become better. Do you see where my which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing happens here? So there you have it. That's my spill on AI generated media and why I think you should watch out for in 2023, because these things are only going to get more common. They're only going to get better at what they're doing. As usual, guys, my name is Joe Kage. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment something down below about your favorite part of the video, or if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about. Alright, it's been real, guys. Peace.
Shout out to little bro for this one.